Hello. Today we're going to talk about products. So I get lots of questions regarding what products that I use. There are so many products available now, which is great. There's so many products available now that cater to the natural hair community. And when I first went natural back in 2009, it took a while to find products that worked for my hair beyond the style. When I say beyond the style, I mean the next day. How does my hair feel the next day? Because when you first put a product on and it's great and wonderful, that's, you know, nice for the day. But if tomorrow it feels dry or it's not holding the way that it did, which, you know, I'm not saying that any of these are magic, but I'm saying my hair likes them. It's not a temporary relationship. So these products have been long-term with me. So first I will share the Cantu Shea Butter. They have a whole line, but this is the only thing I had tried. So I have tried, I think they have a lotion or something like that, but the leave-in is something that I started with, and I have others that I have tried, but I know I keep Old Faithfuls in my cabinet just in case, because there's going to be days when you're frustrated or when you're trying something or when your hair's just not acting right, because sometimes the same product you use for a fabulous hair day, you can use it in another 2 weeks and you're like, okay, this is totally not how this should work. I mean, we've done this before. But anywho, it happens. So those days when I'm feeling frustrated, that's when I go back to my Old Faithfuls. Cantu leave-in is one of those. Another one, of course, and this gets beaten to death, but is the Eco Styler. And that's because it's pretty much the bomb. So I've used the olive oil, which is the green, but I've also used the red top, which I think is the argan oil. But I mean, this one seems to work for me pretty good. And I think I've only come across the max hold. And one thing you can do when you don't want that crunchy feeling is add oil. Which I usually layer my products, which I didn't learn until more recently than not. Because I've big chopped my hair a few times, just getting frustrated and not really knowing what to do or how to do it. I'm not a stylist. I'm not even, for real, I'm a very low maintenance natural, really. I don't do a whole lot to it, and that's a part of how I can keep it, you know, nicely maintained, is because I'm not overdoing it. I think you can overdo it, over manipulate. I still care for it. I'm pretty good about that, but I'm not, you know, a new style every week. I like to keep it funky, but yeah, I'm pretty low maintenance, I think. But what I was saying about keeping it, you know, that crunch away, finding how much is needed for your hair and the style you're looking to achieve, or the pattern with manipulation. But oil, I've always used oils also. So this one is just something I have on hand, grapeseed oil spritzer. And I started using grapeseed because my aunt, and it's just grapeseed oil in it. It's just really for cooking. I found it at Ross in the cooking aisle, so that's where I get my coconut oil. Sometimes they'll have olive oil. Which I used to buy a big huge container of the olive oil, but I found out later on that the properties start to change as it goes rancid or as it ages. So once air gets to it and it starts to oxidize and all that kind of stuff, it's not the same quality that it was when you first got it. So buying big huge containers, if you're going to use it, is good. I'm not really sure how long that process takes, and expiration of, you know, how you can gauge what size and how often or how frequently you use it. But now when I see the spritzers, and I'll probably always do this because I don't have to expose it to air as much, this will be something that I'll probably refill, so I'll have to relabel it with whatever oil I put in there. But I usually make mixes. So coconut oil is one of my favorites. Olive oil is something that I use originally because that's something we had in the kitchen, and it's something that I would see pop up. So I'm like, oh, we have that. So of course, now since I use it regularly, there's 2 separate containers. You don't want your hair in the kitchen. Even though I grew up getting my hair washed in the kitchen and that kind of stuff, but we were using hair products. We weren't like cross-contaminating, you know, hair and food. Yeah, no. So I would recommend separate products, but also smaller containers, because if you consider how little oil, well, once I considered how little oil I used, I knew that buying it large because I knew I would use it over time was one thing, but the quality of the oil still is something to consider over that time. Another product that I will say is an Old Faithful is Olive Oil Smooth and Hold Pudding, or ORS, which is, yeah, Organic Root Stimulator. They changed their name like some years back. But anywho, this, and I had used more expensive products to do like twist outs, or just twist period, or any style that required some kind of hold. So even if it was a finger coil, this is a nice crunchless hold for me, and I didn't really have product buildup issues unless I overuse. A lot of products, you have to know how much, and it's such a personal thing. It's such a like case by case kind of thing. This perfect amount is not, you know, it might be great for you, but it may not work for the next person, because, you know, porosity is different, textures are different, and the way hair responds is different. But anywho, this is something that's worked for me, and I pretty much go back to it. Back to when you're trying things and you're getting frustrated, go back to what you know, and then, you know, you can jump in later with some of the new, because there's so much stuff now I can't hardly keep up. I'm like, oh, you know, even with the packaging, I'm like, oh, who's this? Oh, okay, they're just revamping, I guess, revamping their style. The last one I want to share is Shea Moisture Curl Enhancing Smoothie. Their lines have expanded like crazy also, but the organic coconut and hibiscus, this is one of the lines. This is really one of the only lines that I knew of originally from that brand. So the other ones I have tried, and I'm using right now the green one. Anyway, I know them by the color of the wrapping. But that one's pretty good, and I'm using that one because it has specifically like the color protection, that kind of stuff. It's the Zanzibar. But this is one that I can say I'll buy and rebuy. This is an Old Faithful. I know, you know, to a certain degree that I can get the style that I'm looking for without much hassle. So I think finding products that works for you will take a lot of the frustration out. A part of the reason I big chopped or chopped so many times, because I don't think, is it a big chop? Well, I see people now talking about, you know, second big chop or whatever, so I guess it will be considered another big chop. But a part of the reason I big chopped, every time actually that I big chopped, I was frustrated with my hair. So yes, my hair would be longer, it would be a lot of things, you know, depending on what I had done to it, but I kept cutting it off, and I'm trying to get out of that. But a part of that is learning my hair. It takes time to learn your hair, especially if you're pretty much self-maintenance. I did have someone like for my color treatments, like this is professionally colored. I have colored my own hair before, especially when it was shorter, because, you know, that's really my favorite length. You can pretty much do whatever you want to it, and, you know, it'll grow back, thankfully, to a certain extent. You can't like set it on fire and then think it's gonna grow back from the ashes, but yeah. But hopefully that was helpful. I'll put a picture and I'll list the products below. The oil is not necessarily, I don't have a brand favorite or anything like that. It's mainly just making sure that it's not rancid, that it hasn't already started to turn, because then the properties that you're looking for on the health, you know, the benefits are probably not there. Other than that, I appreciate you watching, and I'll probably do more of a day-to-day right now, what I'm using. I do incorporate these, but with my daily refresh, I use a refresher spray or a water mix that I just put, you know, like leave-in in, maybe a little bit of oil. I don't have a magic concoction. I kind of eyeball it, so that probably isn't really helpful. But anyway, I'll do another video with kind of the now, because I feel like there's a lot of trends in natural hair, and I'm kind of behind the 8 ball on that. I'll buy things occasionally, but I am not per se a product junkie. I don't have to have the latest, because you know, once you find something that your hair agrees with, and I know sometimes you have to switch it up, which is why it's good to try different things so that your hair will still respond. But your hair also changes, you know, with the weather, with the humidity, you know, depending on how the sun is shining, you know, my hair may or may not cooperate. But anywho, I don't want to get too long-winded. I just wanted to share a little bit of, I guess, my holy grail. All right, until next time, guys.